many of our state candidates do we have here? We have, is Governor Corroon, yeah, is Governor Corroon here? Let's turn a little bit of time over to currently Mayor, future Governor, Corroon.
Thank you, John. Great to be here with everybody in the Wildcat Theater. Sounds like we've got a bunch of Wildcats in the room tonight, or this morning. Why do you live in Utah?
Because we want to.
Because you want to. God bless you. Well, Utah is my home. Utah is where I choose to raise my children. And I live in Utah because of our great pioneering spirit, because of the great values we have in this state, because of the quality of life we have in this state, and because of the focus that we put on our families. And I've traveled the great state of Utah over the last several months, and I found out that people want to see a change. People want us to move in a new direction. And I think, unfortunately, we've seen a tale of two cities. We have our current state leaders who believe that all is fine, all is going well. But our citizens think otherwise. Our citizens want us to get back to the basics of a small, efficient, and effective government. They want us to get back to focusing on jobs and the economy, and focusing on education, and focusing on the great quality of life we have in this state. But there's a fantasy. The fantasy that I hear from our state leaders is that they're putting the economy as number one. And if you were in this last, listened to this last legislative session, did you feel like they were putting the economy as number one? We talked about putting monkeys in homes. We talked about having no car seats for our children. We talked about suing the federal government. We didn't focus on jobs and the economy. The truth is, we have the highest unemployment rate in this state that we've had in 25 years. We've got friends and family members losing their jobs. A good friend of mine, he lost his job about a year ago, and he finally found a job, but it wasn't here in Utah, it was in California. And so his family now has to uproot themselves, move to California. They've got to take their kids out of the school system that they've been used to being in, and that's not what we want to see. So what's the solution? First of all, I think we need to support our local businesses, our homegrown businesses. Most of our economy is driven by our local businesses here in Utah. It's not about giving money to big corporations to come to Utah. It's about those homegrown businesses that have driven our economy for decades. It's about focusing on our core businesses like technology, energy, and tourism. And it's about strengthening our rural areas that have often been ignored in the past. It's about a strong education system. And it's about creating opportunities for our children. The second fantasy that I saw this legislative session was that there was no cuts in our education budget, that our education system was made whole this year and everybody was patting themselves on the back. Well, the truth is, there were budget cuts. In K-12, there were budget cuts. In higher education, they received a 13% cut. And meanwhile, we have 11,000 new students coming into our K-12 system. Our graduation rates are falling behind the national average, and our per pupil funding is still the lowest in the nation by 20% to the next state. In our higher education system, we have 13,000 new students coming into higher ed this year while the budgets were cut. I met two young women from Logan who went to Utah State University. They had recently lost their scholarships because of budget cuts, and they didn't know what they were going to do. That was their plan for their future, and now they didn't know what their future was going to look like. Another fantasy that we've seen is that our leaders are focusing on our quality of life here, but I see no vision for our future, and as we grow, how we're going to deal with the growth. This winter, we've seen Utah 5 cities having the worst air quality in the nation. Not just in Utah, but in the entire nation. We had 5 cities in the top 10 worst air quality for several days in a row. And we've seen Utah being allowed to become the dumping ground for high-level radioactive waste. And we've seen our state leaders negotiating to give away our water to Nevada. And we've seen us losing clean energy jobs to other states as well. So the solution, first of all, is to plan for our growth, to create a strong renewable energy economy. We have great natural resources. We have coal and natural gas and oil, but we also have sun, we have wind, we have geothermal energy, we have biomass energy, and we can create new jobs for our economy and also help improve our quality of life. Every time we turn on the keys to our cars or turn on the lights in our home, that energy should be developed right here and create jobs right here in the state of Utah. So it's time to get out of fantasy land. It's time to get back to the basics and focus on what's important for all of us. That's why I'm running for governor. I'm also running for governor to be an independent voice for the citizens of Utah. A voice that will stand up and say, we want fair boundaries when we redistrict. Voice that says that ethics reform is important to all of us as citizens. And that's why I'm running for governor, and I need your help. We can do this. It's been 30 years since a Utah Democrat was elected to be governor, and I can do that. I need your help, and with your help, we will have some balance and an independent voice for the citizens of Utah. Thank you very much.